Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 101 of the Seezus Show. Glad to be back. Glad to share another fun-filled episode with you guys. Truly, always, first and foremost, want to give thanks to everyone who's been with me since day one, the newcomers who have been spreading the word. I'm just proud of everything that, myself and my team have done. And I'm looking forward to always constantly delivering you guys with some top quality content on the NBA, everything that goes in and around the NBA as well, too. So obviously, had a major milestone about 2 weeks ago, hitting episode 100. And, we primarily focused on, the James Harden trade and whatnot. But, things always seem to unravel in the NBA as well, too. So this episode should be a great, fun-filled episode. Make sure to subscribe on all forms of social media at TheSeezusShow, Show, at Sir Seezus, and at TradeDayXXIV. So without further ado, my co-host Trade Day is going to be joining us in a little while. So make some noise for my boy, my co-host Trade Day XXIV. What it do, baby? Let's get it.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the one, Trade Day all day, the oldest one, the youngest one, your brother himself, Trade Day all day. I hope everybody's doing all right out there. I know it never rains on the West Coast, but on the East Coast, we are in a freaking blizzard. If you're around the area, that we kind of resided in over here, Central VA, DMV, going down the coast. It's a little bit of a snowstorm out here. How you doing over there, Sir Seezus? What's good with you?
I'm doing great. We spoke off air a little bit, but the weather it's a little chilly, so I'm kind of spoiled now. So whenever I feel like the cold hit me, my joints just kind of like tense up a little bit and whatnot. But
Dang.
I feel great, man. No complaints on this side. Apparently it rains like 2 weeks out of the year, spaced out.
Okay. Okay.
So for 2 days straight, that shit was crazy. But other
Word.
than that, man, I mean, it's been a little chilly in the low to mid 40s and whatnot. But I think the rest of this week gonna be in the 60s. So no complaints.
Jesus.
And like I told you before, we had a lot of shit shut down. And this past Friday, they actually had outdoor seating now. So instead of being 6 feet apart, you gotta be 8 feet apart now. So
Mm.
I'm excited for that, but not really, because I kind of, if I'm not cooking, I use like Uber Eats and whatnot. There's no
Yeah.
real point of being out. But
Yeah.
I'll eventually go out to get something to eat. But like I said, if it's chilly outside, I'm not really trying to go out and
Not
eat like
going. You're not
that.
jacking
I
it.
gotta, I gotta, I gotta be comfortable when I'm eating. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but that's about it, bro. No complaints. Just taking it day by day as
Okay.
always. So, that's about it. So,
Solid.
let's get straight into the topics, man. So,
For sure.
been a while. Obviously, we had episode 100 last time. Happy about
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir.
Appreciate you along the journey. Everything gonna continue this and whatnot. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So,
Okay.
one of the biggest topics of discussion has been Bradley Beal, man. And it's just been kind of crazy. The Wizards are currently the worst team in the NBA right now. And it's just been kind of atrocious. Like Bradley Beal said it best. We can't defend a parked car right now. And within the 14 games he's played, obviously they should have played more, but because of COVID protocols and whatnot, a lot of times they didn't even have 8 players available to play. So they've had a
It's
couple
crazy.
games that have been postponed. But Bradley Beal's only played 14 games. And in those 14 games, he's kind of picked off where he left at from last season, and he's number one he's a scoring champion right now, scoring leader
Mhm.
right now. So he's averaging 35 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, playing a
Crazy.
little over 34 minutes a game, and he's shooting 47% from the field, and I believe 34% from the three.
Hmm.
And it's kind of crazy because going into the season, I'm like, all right, like I saw the Washington Wizards play live. Like when I went with Austin, I went with my brother Daryl, my boy Jew, and we got pretty good seats. So we got to see the Clippers play the Wizards. Obviously, John Wall was out. And this is back
Yeah.
when they had Isaiah Thomas.
Okay. Okay.
But they can score with the best. Like there's no doubting their offense, but their defense has always been the weakest link
Yeah,
or their Achilles heel. And I thought it would be a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Scotty Brooks is there. They acquired Russell Westbrook, Rui Hachimura, all these other players you would think who've been in that system for a year, would just do better, but they can't. So oftentimes, like I said, they're scoring, but they can't get those stops that they need. And then when it is a close game, it's just poor communication on both ends of the floor. And they're struggling right now. And I was just kind of sad and a little funny because of the memes that came with it. Obviously, we're in the social media era,
hmm
but I was pretty sad just to see Bradley Beal, pictures where he's just like looking
yeah, hurt.
his arms over the bench. I'm just like, damn, bruh. Like what's next for this guy? Like, because there's been some talk saying like um he should demand a trade, and then I've seen some reports or from articles saying that even though he's under contract right now, he can't necessarily get traded right now because of something in his contract.
Yeah.
But like, what do you think is going on? Should Bradley Beal want out? Tell me your scoop about everything as well, man. What's on your mind, Brad?
I think misery loves company, and the Washington Wizards right now are misery, and Bradley Beal is the company. And this is all with all respect to Washington organization because I've had a chance to actually be in that organization, but just how it's happened and just the misfortune, I think they're probably feeling it just as well. From a critic standpoint, as we're kind of doing, and them, they're probably looking like, yo, like this is not what we thought it was going to be. Like something needs to change drastically. And respect to the people that have jobs and stuff like that up there. It's tough. It's tough, man, when you look at it. And we've had this conversation about the Wizards over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Marshawn Lynch over and over and over and over and over over again, man. And it's just like, yo, like it's it hurts to see it, right? So we saw, John Wall, Brad Beal. We can go back to what 3, 4 years ago. They were competing, going to like the Eastern Conference Finals or semifinals and stuff like that. And it was like, yo, like the Washington looked good, but we knew that was going to be a year where it's like, all right, they're getting this good. How can we build upon this? But then you have like a LeBron James there. You have multiple teams that are going to get you out the way. On top of you're not getting any better at the same time. Um, and let's be clear, this school year, this analogy, this school year, their first test that they bombed, right, was honestly the Russell Westbrook transaction. And we're not gonna say it like, yo, they didn't prepare for that test, yada yada like that. But it wasn't how they should have did it in a way, looking at it now. Right. So they had to get rid of John in a way. And Russell and James Harden had something going in Houston. Both two teams that are nucleus, they want to, get out and keep going. Granted, both of them haven't had the greatest of seasons since the trades. But I remember in earlier podcasts, I was like, man, maybe the Wizards can kind of do something with this. Um, since the dust is kind of cleared, we see Houston doing a little bit better. John Wall getting a little bit. They have what's the guy kid's name that's going crazy, the forward that's going crazy down there for Houston, and they have
Christian
you
Wood.
know, yeah, Christian Wood. They have people that are still getting healthy. Oladipo getting healthy, Boogie getting healthy, John Wall looking fast as ever, and they're
Hmm.
dropping games, but at the same time they're getting better. Back to the Wizards. Back to the Wizards. Total opposite. Total opposite. They have Russell Westbrook, who we know is an elite player. We know who can score points, fill up a stat sheet. Can't get a win over there. Can't get a win over there. And to your point, you can score as many points as you need to. The offense could be pristine, but if you can't guard a parked car, if you can't do your responsibility, one of my favorite things about doing your responsibility is when they refer it to football and they're like, uh, he can't catch a cold butt naked in the wintertime in a blizzard. You know what I'm saying? But so coming back to responsibility, you can't guard a parked car. You can't, what can you do in a high powered scoring league? You have to at least be able to get some kind of stops, at least crunch time stops. And let's wrap this back around. Long winded answer, okay? Wrap this back around to Bradley Beal. In this turmoil, our guy who has been giving us this for the last 2.5, 3 seasons, right? So he was giving this with John. Not as many shots because John had shots. He had to dish it and stuff like that too. Brad being one of the recipients of that dish. Now he's the focal point of the offense. He was going off for 40, 30 points, got snubbed as an all-star without John. And now we're at this junction, new outlook, new team, younger players, and you're giving the best years of your careers, the best stats to an organization that seems like it just can't get right. From the tippy top down, not saying top down, but from the tippy top down, things are just not going right. Not saying this is bad, good, but for this playing field, for what's going on right now, you guys are not performing well. And it just looks like there's going to be a hard reset. I don't know what the no trade clause is or whatever like that, but whatever happens, right? Satisfy your superstar that has given you so much of his career. Get the maximal, the optimal amount that you can for him, but part ways very amicable. I can't even say that word, but part ways in a loving fashion, right? Because you can send him to some of these guys, to some team, and get some decent pieces back where you can start building for whenever you decide to be good again. If you guys are gonna go and want that first draft pick in 2022 or 2021, whatever like that, if that's what you're gunning for, let's do that. But right now, you have to get pieces so you can start building in 2021, late 2021, and early 2022. Because right now, it's not gonna get it. And Brad Beal's gone. You know he's gone once he gets the chance.
Bruh, yeah. Just looking at his game log, since his 8th game when he scored 60, he had 60, 41, 34, 31, 33, 47, 26. Only one dub from that whole streak of scoring, bruh. That shit is ridiculous, man. And I agree with you.
Different.
Like it's just time to honestly start from the top down. I mean, obviously, the ownership's going to stay ownership, but he needs to take a look in the mirror, and he just needs to clear the house, clear the entire house, like you said. Get some compensation from Bradley Beal. Obviously, you can't get anything that equates to that, but maybe the draft pick could be promising as well too, and a few key pieces as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has no trade clause, kind of like Melo. So if he does get traded, he has say on where he wants to go. So they did promise him loyalty and doing him right. So it may not be this year, but definitely by around this time next year, he's gonna be in another team, happy as hell. And
I'm honestly,
all right, he's gonna be competing for potentially a title. So what are you about to say?
I'm honestly, Empire Strikes Back esque out of me, Star Wars esque out of me. I'm hoping he gets. Everybody keeps saying Warriors, and I mean, I'm hoping for
I
he
was
gets to
just
go play the
about
Warriors too.
I was just about to get to that. So with the whole Warrior situation, obviously they're gonna have Minnesota's pick. They're developing Wiseman. Klay Thompson's injured. If you're a Warriors fan, would you trade Klay and that draft pick that they're gonna get from it? Because Minnesota look like they're gonna be the worst team, one of the worst teams too. Would you trade that pick or some like 2 picks with Klay Thompson for Bradley Beal, or you think Klay Thompson's a Warrior for life? Or maybe Klay could stay. They just get rid of Wiseman. But how do you feel about that? Because I feel like you have to match the contracts too. So Klay would seem like the most viable option, unless they want to get rid of like Wiggins or something like that.
I think Wiggins has been on the chopping block forever. I think him, a draft pick, and shoot, maybe one more guy. You know what I'm saying? I think Kelly Oubre plays decent defense, so that might help him stay out of that one or whatever like that. But just kind of looking at how the year started and stuff like that. I don't think Golden State wants to part ways with Klay. I think if I was a cutthroat GM, I'd get rid of Klay. Honestly, and this is not this is being very unemotional, but you know, we use the term damaged goods with all due respect. Damaged goods. He made a lot of money on the defensive end, right? We're talking about lateral movements. We're talking about, vertical movements that he's going to need to come back and be that great defender. I tell you from just sitting out because of COVID, because there's no courts open for 5 months, that coming back to the court and trying to be a great defender. It's a hard task to do. So even sitting out because you have a tear is so on and so forth, even crazier. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're not going to see that same Clay. We might see him from an offensive standpoint, from a shooting standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can trade him away, get some more pieces for him, so we can reload, maybe get one more guy, knowing that that defense is not going to come back. You know, well, because we can't bank on that. We know Curry. We know he's not the most defensive endowed player. Um, and we know there's some struggles. Again, we know we have a good guy in Wiseman that we can rally around for the next few years. Let's go ahead and get some pieces if we're going to do that, right, from an unemotional standpoint. But I think if they can steal it, keep Clay as a good shooter, a good three and kind of B guy, you know, not the most effective one. Uh, but get rid of those utility guys, man. Wiggins wasn't coming to stay forever anyway. They've been holding him for.
He's been pretty damn good this year though. He's been the second most consistent player, I'd have to say, but I get where you're
But
going with that.
make
If
some
you
trade
could
bait.
keep him, it makes him trade bait, like you said. Yeah, it makes him trade bait.
So that's my things. I look at other potentials. Saying the Sixers. I think the Sixers have put way too many shooters around already. And it's not going to be a great fit for the Wizards to go and try to do that right off the back. I've seen possibly the Nuggets, but with Murray and Jokic, and who they have MPJ over there too, which I don't know. You know,
I
granted,
mean, he's 6'10".
he's 6'10". You know, I don't think you're gonna get
Upside
a
crazy.
yeah, I don't think you're gonna get a unicorn for Bradley Beal, but who knows? It depends on the direction they want to go because MP Dre, he's been used in a kind of utility way because he's so young and stuff like that. But if you say, yo, he's gonna have to bounce anyway eventually because we're gonna, keep Murray, we're gonna keep Jokic. He's probably gonna want to go get paid, and he can probably do that on the Wizards. That might be a potential move as well. But Brad Bill saying, "Oh, yo, I'm trying to go be a not second fiddle per se, but I'm trying to go be a tertiary option to Jokic and Murray in Denver." I'm not sure we see that happening either. And then up on this board is also the Pelicans.
No,
Don't want to see him
no,
go there, but
no.
you never know with the league, man. So I'm
How do
hoping he
you
gets
how
the
do you feel
Warriors.
how do you feel with him? I mean, maybe it's redundant, but him pairing up with someone, let's say like Donovan Mitchell, or they're too undersized both together. I mean,
Sorry,
granted
sorry.
they got Mike Conley, but they can push Donovan Mitchell to the point for real, for real.
Um, and who they have? They have Rudy Gobert. They have who's their forward? That's Joe Ingles?
Yeah,
Am I tripping?
Joe Ingles, and what's that dude's name? O'Neal, and I forgot the other guy's name. I can't think of his name right now. Let me check the roster real quick.
I think it would
We
be a I think it'd be a dope situation, but I think when he leaves, he's going to be championship hunting, and not
yeah.
not not saying that from a non like with him like without kind of like a valor or without respect kind of thing. But I think when he leaves there, he wants to be in the best favorable position in the best culture that is totally opposite of what's kind of transpired these last 2 seasons. So I think the Warriors kind of cloth is what he's kind of looking for, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with you, honestly. We'll see what happens with that. It feels like teams are kind of already set with what they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking at the cap space because he's getting paid like over 40 mil a year. Like, what can you do? But then again, if you were able to move James Harden contract, if you have the assets, then if you can trade for a person like that, then do it. So
It can be done. It can be done.
it can be done. It can be done. Um, Russell Westbrook, man, love the guy. Has been one of my favorite players to watch since he's set foot on the court, and even grew more of a connection with him when he was one of the originators with the loyalty over everything. Obviously, when KD departed from OKC and whatnot, rooted for him. Went 3 years averaging a triple double, and post KD, he's always led his team to an above 500 record. They've
Mm-hmm.
always been in the playoffs. So I have a mindset. Well, we haven't seen what John Walker do, and he's been injured for a while, kind of like the Clay situation we're talking about. So just trade him while you're ahead. Take on Russell Westbrook's contract, box office. His game, is not the prettiest, but it translates to wins. And like I said, the Wizards are 3-12, and this is statistically one of Russell Westbrook's worst seasons ever. Um, he's averaging 19, 9, and 10, damn near triple double. Yippee! I think we're kind of over that right now because what have you done for me lately? But he's shooting 38% from the field, normally 44, 66% from free throw, 33% from three, and his PER normally has been in the low to mid 20s. Right now it's at 13.3. Um, is it safe to say that Westbrook is past his prime, or due to the lack of talent, he's just not producing? But then again, you can't really say that because even with the talent that the Wizards have right now, Bradley Beal is still very efficient. So do
Mm-hmm.
you think Westbrook's past his prime right now? Like, tell me your insight.
It's hard to say that somebody that's averaging damn near still a triple double is past his prime. Um, every problem with the Wizards, bro, I'm gonna chalk back up to from management down. There has to be a reshaping of it. There has to be a new look, a new breath of life, a new identity, man. Because it's a graveyard of sorts. Like people, players go there and kind of get their energy and their spirit taken from them in a way. It's one of those teams that just need a new look, and I'm really surprised they haven't did it any sooner because we've seen teams that always look like, yo, this is the year we need to go. Granted, that's not Washington's philosophy, but if it's not, even if it's not, it's like, yo, you kind of see how this feels. And I was thinking about when we were talking about the last subject, you just had a baseball team that won the World Series. You had a hockey team that I think won that as well, stuff like that. And from like a management, from an owner, from a standpoint, you have to look around the city, and I think all of these guys might be under like the whole monument thing, like the monument marketing group. But you have to look at it and be like, yo, how can we big up our basketball team to not just be star power, right? It can be jumping, it can be, DC, it can be, the theme, the heart that you want it to be, right? Tying this back to Russell Westbrook, I think Russell Westbrook inspires that, bro. He's a player that comes, he's loyal to it, he's gonna score the points, he's gonna put up the numbers, he's gonna fight night in and night out, right? So what parameters aren't working? And I'll even say this. Our question for Russell Westbrook has always been in the playoffs. It's never been a regular season Russell Westbrook. He'll steamroll the regular season. He'll score. He'll put up the stats. He'll do the numbers, and he'll be amazing. We get to the playoffs. That's a different story, right? We have to question different things. We have to question his game, his shot taking, his ability to make shots, all that stuff like that. But this particular junction right now, he's not the common denominator that I'm looking at. He's the consistent variable, right? He's the consistent one, doing kind of what he's been doing. I think that's from a leadership standpoint, man. That this has to change. I'm not sure if it's necessarily Russell Westbrook. Think he's in a bad
Damn.
situation.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both as well too. But I agree with you, especially from a leadership standpoint. You are a former MVP. You should be galvanizing your troops to commit to the defensive end and just demand more out of them. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I don't see him as long as he has his contract. 'Cause I think he's top five in players played. I
Mm-hmm.
don't see him being on a contender um, from now until he retires anymore. I think
Oh, because they
he
can't pay
has
him
a
for it.
stig. I think he had that, and I think he just has this stigma with, like I said, situational basketball going into the playoffs and the deficiencies of what he can't do as far as shooting the mid range, posting up, and shooting the outside shot from Trey as well too. So,
Facts.
and so we'll see with that. It's crazy because last year around this time when they traded for Clint Capella, Russell Westbrook numbers are looking crazy in Houston. We were saying, yo, he's top 5 MVP candidate,
Yeah.
so to come from there and then, come back down to earth is kind of crazy. But like you said, you're kind of the product of the environment that you're in as well, too. So I think it's a little bit of both, but I can see why you would lean more towards the Wizards in its entirety as well, too. So we'll see what happens with that, but it's not looking good at all with these Washington Wizards, bro. 3-12 is crazy, and then today they're playing the Nets, so Nets gonna get that dub.
Knicks gonna
Um,
give it to you. Gonna give it to you.
moving from there, since we're already on the Nets right now, man, the Nets are on a mother freaking roll, bruh. I remember the other week Colin Sexton is like they saw a ghost, 2 straight games busting their ass with the whole big three. I'm just like, yo, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
But they've managed to slowly turn things around, and they've been one of the most exciting teams to watch in the NBA right now. No matter who they're playing, I just want to see how their defense looks. Everyone get their own bucket. How can they coexist? How can the ball move around? How are they going to take lead? How are they going to take ownership of being leaders on the floor as well too? So I've been enjoying them playing from start to finish, and it's been great. Right now they're 13-8 in the Eastern Conference, and they're second behind the Philadelphia 76ers. They're currently on a 4-game win streak, and like I said, they're going to be playing the Wizards a little later on today, so I believe they're going to be on a 5-game win streak. And they've been crazy. Their big three has been flat out sensational. KD still amazes me, bro. It still amazes me how this motherfucker came off an Achilles injury and is the number 2 leading scorer in the NBA right now, averaging 31, 7, and 6, 1.5 blocks, 52% from the field, 44% from three, and 86% from the free throw line. You got Kyrie, obviously he's been, in and out the lineup, but has been pretty consistent and very efficient. Very, very efficient. 28, 6 and 5, 55% from the field, 40% from three, and damn near 90% from free throw. And then James Harden, who's obviously taken a back seat in a sense, and has more so been the floor general for them because he knows he has these tools to his disposal. He's averaging 24 points, 8 rebounds, and what's nice is he's been a league leader in assists before in the past, but he's a league leader again. And he's averaging 12 assists right now, just having fun with Joe Harris, lobs to DeAndre Jordan, giving the ball to KD and Kyrie, letting them beat themselves. And he's shooting, normally he shoots for about 43, 44% from the field. This year he's 46, so I expect that to go up. And then 37% from three as well, too. And then they just signed Amon Shumpert as well, too. So I'm proud of the signing that they had. They had to fill their roster spot. And obviously with Amon Shumpert, he fills that roster spot. He has familiarity with the system. Obviously, with Steve Nash being there, it's a little bit different as well too. But this is a guy who helps them provide depth in the backcourt and defense from the wing perspective as well too. But what are your thoughts on the Nets right now? I mean, we knew they were going to have a rough patch, and obviously with the protocols going on and all that good stuff, Kyrie being out the lineup, we knew it was going to take a while for them to mesh. But it seems like they're kind of going to be on that Miami tier back when LeBron and D Wade and Bosh assembled, and it seems like they're actually going to go on a run. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go on like a 10+ game win streak or have 7-8 game win streaks, take an L, go on another 4 or 5 game win streak, take an L, and just keep building from there. But what are your thoughts on what you've been seeing so far from the Brooklyn Nets?
Brooklyn Nets, well-oiled machine. I like the stat. Or just you talking about Harden's assist. I think that's the recipe for them right there, man. It's and we came in. Harden said he would sacrifice, but I don't necessarily think assisting and sacrificing. I think when was talking about sacrificing, he was talking about more of like all the shots taking, the volume of shots. But at the same time, you play efficient basketball, it's going to come back around. It's a self-replenishing kind of system in a way. So James Harden being able to play that role that honestly, if we look at it, um, might be the most effective role for him to play.
Yeah.
And that sounds crazy because this guy can go for 50 every night easily. But it's the most efficient role for him to play. He understands the floor so well. He can get his points, but a point guard that can score, but also doesn't have to do that on a team, that's such a dangerous team, right? Where James Harden can just go dish it here, dish it there, get a shooter involved, dish it to Katie and Kyrie, not take too much from himself, and also come in and refilter with that second unit where they need the extra scoring at too. He can be that scorer right there. But with that first unit, the first few possessions he can get a shot off, but then after that is dish, cut, dish, that kind of formula for it. What you have KD scoring 31 points, going damn near scoring 30 points a night. You have Kyrie averaging 30. James Harden's averaging freaking 25, 24 points a night. Like, it's um it's what we would expect out of this team. The defense is gonna come, but you're that efficient, and I think James Harden, like you said, is only gonna get better when it comes to scoring. Defense is gonna be a thing. You're gonna have to get stops coming down the stretch, but literally only coming down the stretch with this team because it's gonna be hard to catch them. It's gonna be very, very hard to catch them. So there's gonna be some areas where they can not give up, but they can be a little bit weaker at because their offense is elite, absolutely elite. Iman Shumpert was a great sign. A guy that was out floating around, played in the league. I'm sure, take a little bit for him to get his legs under him a little bit. But 6'5", he is third T.
He may be like 30, 31, honestly.
He's 30. He's 30.
Yeah.
So, definitely get some good legs out of him. And for him, just being a defender, getting in there, locking down where you can, bumping with those a little bit bigger, 6'8", maybe 6'9" guys, but putting a conservative force, using your fouls if need be, but, taking some pressure off the guys that are really going to be scoring the ball. And with that second unit, once you get back into the swing of things, go get yours too. Like he said, Paul, he got Paul Pierce, with that step back, and he dropped Paul Pierce that one time. He's like, I was upset because Paul Pierce didn't say what's up to me. So we know Iman can hoop, and the potential of them maybe getting that Andre Drummond would be super duper big for them. The Nets are going in a great direction. Let's hope for the best for them because that's going to only make the NBA that much funner to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like I said, protocol is just a little weird, but I anticipate them being a top 3 team. And I think it's going to be a maybe 4-team race with the Celtics, Bucks, including the Nets and 76ers right now as well too. So I wouldn't be surprised if even if in the number 1 seed right now. But like I said, I like the Iman Shumpert signing because all he has to do right now is space the floor and then take on that assignment of guarding one of the best guards on the opposing team, which he's capable of doing. I mean, I think he can do it. I think Steve Nash may give him some minutes. And then they signed another big who I think was on the 76ers in the past. I don't think he really played that much because they already had their rotation filled out. So we'll see how that goes. And I think they're also missing another player as well too. But right now, it just seems like they're just missing, like you said, another big. So if Andre Drummond gets his contract bought out, I'm definitely curious and interested at filling that void for them because that would be crazy. That would help out with their rebounding. He's a double machine. And a lot of people sleep on his defense. So I think down the stretch, if you want, they like having Katie go to the 5 now with Jeff Green at the 4, Kyrie, Joe Harris, and Harden. But if you can slide Katie to the 4, maybe even sit out Joe Harris. I guess it really just depends on the lineup, right? On who you're going with as well too. But I would love to see Drummond at the 5, Katie at the 4, Green there at the 3, and then you got Kyrie and Harden right there. I think that would be dope. But if they can get Andre Drummond, that would be nice. But some other destinations I thought about Andre Drummond is obviously with the Celtics, they have Tice and they have Tristan Thompson. And I feel like the Celtics, the only piece that they've always been missing has been that big.
Okay.
I would look at going there as well too. Honestly, so
Sucks.
that would be a nice pick. But bigs are pretty much insured right now as far as like the competitive teams as well too. So those would be the 2 top destinations I'm looking at right now. So he just has to have that mindset of sacrificing because I think right now he's averaging like 18 and 14 right now, something like that. So definitely the touches are going to be gone. So he's going to more so just be that guy that sets the screens, catches those lobs, and just gets you rebounds as well too. So yeah, that's looking good. So we're going to continue to look at that and see what happens from there. A team that's not doing good though um, is the Miami Heat, bruh. They've been struggling, man.
Yeah, man.
They've been struggling. So obviously, the guy who controls our social media and all that good stuff is our little man Warren, diehard Miami Heat fan. You know, I was just poking the bear and I'm talking shit. And I texted him, bro. I'm like, yo, like, what's going on with your Miami Heat? They're 7-12. I think they're second to last in the East right now. Was the NBA Disney Plus trophy in the bubble a fluke? Because it went they went through the Pacers. Obviously, they didn't have Sabonis, and then they went through the Bucks, who they dismantled 4-1, and then they took the Celtics to 6 games. Obviously, Gordon Hayward came a little late, and then they took Miami. I mean, they took the Lakers to 6 games as well too. So this is a team where I've thought that they would pick up right where they left off at. But then again, I'm not quite sure if I'm too concerned because Warren actually sent me a chart and a lot of their players have missed a lot of games. So I'm just going to read this to you right now. Jimmy Butler not only looks like he looks like me right now. He looked like he lost mad weight. It's just kind of crazy. But Jimmy Butler's missed 12 games due to health and safety protocols. He had COVID. Goran Dragic missed 4 games, health safety growing. Mo Harkless missed 9 games, thigh. Avery Bradley missed 10 games, knee. Bam Adebayo 2 games, health and safety. Tyler Hero 7 games, neck. Andre Iguodala 2 games, neck. Myers Leonard 15 games, shoulder.
Jesus.
Gabe Vincent 7 games, knee. Chris Silver 12 games, hip. Um,
That's a
so
retirement home.
so that's a retirement home, and it's crazy because I just feel like there's always that team, no matter what, it's undefeated. You got to go through that injury bug, whether it be
Yeah.
for the season, whether it be for a stretch of the season. That's always is the case. So it seems like that's caught up to them right now. But being 7-12, it's looking like it's going to be hard to climb up off of the bottom from where they at right now. Do you think that one last year was a fluke, Disney Plus trophy in the bubble, and two, if they can get healthy, looking at the landscape right now, do you think they can potentially make a run to get at least a 6-8 seed, or potentially, I know this year with the protocols and all that going on right now, there's going to be a play-in. Do you think they can actually make it there? What are your
Uh,
thoughts on that?
they are 7-12, sitting at 13th. The Wizards are rock bottom. Pistons under them. Cross them off. We got the Raptors after that. I think they can beat the Raptors. When a little bit healthier. And then you have. I'll go from 8 to where they're at. You have the Hornets at 8, Knicks at 9, Magic at 10, Bulls at 11, and I said Raptors at 12. You can get the Raptors. I think Bulls are a little bit of a tougher team than we're letting on, right? They're just, the growing pains, Billy Donovan, the new head coach. But we've seen flashes of them look really, really good, the Bulls. And I won't say really, really good, but we've seen some promise in that, right? Then you have the Knicks, who Austin Rivers, I'm gonna go off. I mean, so and then you have the Hornets with Lamelo, second coming of little baby, little baby Christ. Nah, I won't say that. Little baby Jesus, ball. That's how the media portrays him. But and yes, you have those guys sitting around up there. Don't know how great Cleveland's gonna be for how long. You could say that's kind of a fluke. They've just had some good games because Cleveland was never good. You could talk about that. So there's some teams right around here that this is first half of the season kind of bubble. As it grows, we get more and more concerned. But these next 2 or 3 weeks, granted, uh, COVID protocols and stuff like that, if the Heat can put a little bit of something together and end up around that 10th place kind of and move up from 13th, move up 2 or 3 spots, right? I think you can see them finding their way back into the playoffs somehow, some way. The best case scenario for them was to be to somehow, some way climb and get to that 7 or 6 seed, so they're not having to play the big dogs like 1 or 2 to start off, right, coming down the stretch. And we don't know, it's a long season, but that would be the best case scenario for them. Um, on the flip side, being a pessimist, it's COVID-19 season, bro, and being banged up with somebody probably gonna being out every other game.
And I don't mean to cut you off. They in the them and the Lakers are the last team standing, and they had the shortest turnaround as well too. So maybe that could be catching up with them as well.
Which also could be a reason, right? Also could be a reason. I think the Lakers might have a different advantages for different reasons for that, right? Different advantages. You have a team with LeBron James, and they're going to preserve that team as much as possible because they're going to milk LeBron James until they can't milk him anymore. That is big money. That is the league. That's what comes with it. The Heat. You are Miami. You are in a bigger market, but you are also a blue collar team, right? Not the same kind of amenities. Go have fun, be safe, go ride the bike, no helmet. The Lakers get a motor power bike with the helmet, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? They get the Batmobile over there. They get a bicycle, no helmet, go ride down the hill. All right, with the Miami. So yeah, playing a pessimist. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be super tough, man, for that to happen. For those kind of good things to happen over and over again, and the Heat to just climb up like that. If there's any other team that could do it, it's the Heat. But when you talk about depth like that, you have to have like depth where you can just pull people up like baseball in the minors. We can just throw people into the thing, throw pitchers in, and throw point guards in. They don't have it like that. They have a good team, but if your team can't be there to play, it's going to be super tough to even crack that 8 seed that you know these young boys are really doing well with. And I'll say young boys, I mean young boys with the other team, dude. They're balling. They're putting their teams in a position to hopefully make the playoff for the first time in years.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have any expectations from Miami Heat last year. What they were with the fourth, fifth, or I think they were like the fifth seed last year. Obviously, no fans, no home court advantage. They were able to lock in, and they caught their stride at the right time as well too. But like I said, and you said, if they get the 6 through 8 seed or are able to play in the playoffs, we know they've
Sure.
been there before. We know what they know takes to get there. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if they upset someone as well too. My dream scenario though, knowing that the Bucks revamped and got Drew Holiday and whatnot, I would love to see a rematch in the first round. Let's say if the Bucks dip to like the second or third seed,
Mm-hmm.
and he get the 6 through 8 seed. That would be pretty dope, and I think that would be must-watch TV to see. Yo, can Giannis with him signing the super max, Middleton and Drew Holiday up in their game? Can he actually get over the hump as well too? And that would be crazy if they lose again. Just putting that out there as well too. But I think the Miami Heat can definitely go on track. Looking at the schedule right now, next couple of games, they got Charlotte on Monday, Wizards back to back February 3rd and the 5th. And then they got New York, which would be tough, but they can beat them back to back as well, too. So, they're 7-12 right now, 8, 9, 10, 11,
You can get
12.
some wins out of that.
Yeah, they can get some wins out of that. They can potentially be at 500 by, the end of the week. So, we'll see what goes with that. But I think, like I said, honestly, if you're missing your most valuable player, I mean, now you can argue it's Bam, but I think the catalyst is Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
But he's missed 12 games. That's more than 50% of that game. So if he stays healthy and he's good, then I expect them to take their stride. So am I concerned a little bit? You should have some cause for concern, but like I said, this is a weird ass year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. Speaking of a team that actually is doing great, is the Utah Jazz, man. I'm kind of shocked. Every year we kind of know what to expect out of them. I expect them to be a top 4, top 5 team. Give a good fight in the first round, potentially get to the second round, and then that's it. But right now they have the best record in the entire NBA, and also in the Western Conference, being 15-4. They're on an 11-game win streak right now. They're number 3 in points allowed defensively. They're number 1 in rebounding. Shout out to Rudy Gobert. They're number
Mm-hmm.
5 in blocks. Shout out to Rudy Gobert. And they're number 1 in point differential at plus 8.3 as well too. And they have a lot of depth. Mitchell averaging 24, Clarkson 18, which is he's probably going to be 6th man of the year right now. The way that they're
Yeah, he's
winning and the way that he's
hooping.
playing. Conley 17, Bogdan, who still obviously had that injury last year, but is still trying to get used to getting back and implemented. Who averaged almost under 20 last year, averaging 14. Rudy Gobert 14. Joe Ingles 10. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in double digits who are
Sheesh.
or who are just playing great for them as well too. But what are your thoughts on this small market team and what they can do? Do you think they have what it takes to make some noise this year potentially?
Yeah, I think they made a lot of noise last year, but uh, you know, the Nuggets and Murray and Jokic just um, they had them by a few more shots, man. And I'm not sure what the series was. Like, what were they going back and forth, or was that one of the games where they
Yeah,
okay they were going back and
yeah,
forth?
both back and forth points per game scoring.
Yeah,
The Utah was up 3-1.
that's
That's
what I'm
when
saying. So yeah, three
yeah,
one, 3-1,
yeah.
3-1, right? So had that not had been blown, we'd be talking about the Jazz a little bit more, right? But again, mum's the word. These small market teams get brushed under the radar. I think the Jazz are low key from a few years ago, the Pacers of the Western Conference in a way. And I think the Jazz are a little bit better
I
off.
can see that.
The Jazz are a little bit better off, but you know that
Or
three
even
one.
right now, they're the modern. They're basically they're equivalent to the Pacers right now.
Yeah, yeah. So um, that blowing that 3-1 league hurt it, but we were supposed to see them in the Western Conference Finals last year, and then the conversation will be totally different, right? So, and we talk about the Nuggets, we regard the Nuggets at so much higher esteem, but we know those team that battles that gets it done that we've seen come back from multiple deficits. Then it's like, oh snap! So a great team who also has their tandem match, and another great team, Nuggets and Jazz are just always those teams where you're just like, yo, like, oh, these teams are hooping, so you can't be surprised about them. So that whole party, we'll see what happens coming down the stretch. They could hold that one seeding, that one place in the Western Conference. I wouldn't be surprised. So it's all about what transpires in the playoffs because we know the Clippers and the Lakers are still going to be here to play, as well as the Trailblazers that are sitting at 7. Just you just can't turn your head the wrong way in the Western Conference because you'll get knocked out, like literally. So we'll see what happens.
And what I like is, Donovan Mitchell basically, I think, missed like the last 3 games due to concussion protocol. And in his 3-game absence, they've been able to beat the Knicks and Dallas twice as well, too. And I've been impressed with Mr. $40 million guy, Rudy Gobert, who in those 3 games have been averaging 23 points, 17 rebounds, and 3 blocks as well, too. Um, he's getting paid $40 million, which I don't necessarily agree with, but given that it's a small market and what's required of him for this particular team, he's been playing great. So I just want to give him flowers where it's due as well too.
Plus,
And I also think if if they didn't blow that 3-1 lead, they definitely would be in the Western Conference semifinals as well too. Um, and who knows? Maybe they beat the Clippers. I personally think that the Nuggets were a better matchup for the Clippers. So, but we don't know because they were up
yeah,
3-1 as well too. So we really don't know as well. But I just think at the end of the day, when you don't have enough of a prolific offense, because it seems like to me, even though they have, like I said, those X amount of players who are in double digit scoring, I still don't see that second guy that Donovan Mitchell can rely on that's going to help him get over the hump as well too. And like I said, with small market teams, with the exception of the Dallas Mavericks from back in the day with Dirk, the exception of LeBron James basically creating his team with Cleveland. We don't really see teams like that win championships, and more than likely, due to the amount of players compared to other sports, the team with the most stars tend to be the team that end up winning the championship. So,
yeah.
um, one number 1 seed may be nice, Obviously, there's not that many fans in the stands anyway, so they can utilize that to their advantage if they keep the number one seed moving forward. But other than that, I see them get into the second round, and that's probably about it. To be real with you,
Interesting.
um, moving on from there, yeah. So I mean, this is kind of old news, but I kind of want to bring it up as well too. Shaq, you know, the old heads, the battle with the old heads. What's good with the old heads, Trey? I mean, Shaquille O'Neal last week made some comments during the TNT broadcast, and it was just so awkward after Utah got this dub. And he was basically, I guess, in his way trying to motivate Donovan Mitchell, and it just came out the wrong way. He was just like, Donovan, this is Shaq. I said tonight you're going to be one of my favorite players, but you don't have what it takes to get to the next level. And then it was just awkward. Donovan Mitchell just like, okay, this is over the win with the Pelicans. And he's like, I said it on purpose. I wanted you to hear it. And it was just so awkward. So my whole thing is like, yeah, I just want to hear your spill about it because I've been wanting to talk to you about it for a while. Like, what are your thoughts on Shaq's comments with that as well too? And I just feel like with our generation, um, we're labeled as soft, but I think it's just I think what it really comes down to is I think growing up in that era, as far as being a man, a male figure, showing, expressing yourself, wearing your heart on your sleeve, communication is for some reason a sign of weakness.
Hmm.
So I feel like that's carried over with them as well too. So they just don't know how to communicate with players now today. But I
Okay.
feel like I got his intentions behind it, but there could have definitely been a better way on how he delivered that as well too. Because that wouldn't motivate me. I mean, I would be motivated from within. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell, he said on air he's been slighted ever since he came in the league. But what are your thoughts on Shaq's comments and old heads in general, man?
I wish you would be quiet, man. Like, I wish Shaq would shut up. I just shut up, bro. Should be quiet, man. He's a dope. He's an OG. You know what I'm saying? He's so many business ventures. He could teach us so much. But this little like space of chitty chattiness of let me do this because the cameras are rolling because there needs to be a talking point type joint. Like stop that because that's not what Shaq is. He's not, Shaq's real. He has real relationships with these guys behind the scenes, I'm sure, which is probably one of the reasons they said it. But it's just like we don't need to know. Like we don't need to know. I mean, even if he had took the major analyst route and just been like, yo, I don't know if he has what it takes to make it, whatever like that. That could have been the story. But it it just rubs you a certain kind of way and it makes you feel a certain type of way to just see him like try to make in a way a moment on TV. Like, hey, I'm gonna say this to you right now, right here, right? Okay, we're ready. Like it's like it's like everybody's like laugh because we're taking a picture. Ha 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 ha. You know what I'm saying? It's a kind of stage setup, very Instagram model esque. What do you do? Oh, I'm an influencer type, type, very generational thing. And it's like, bro, you are OG, be an OG, bro. Very privileged, esteemed, and we look up to you, whatever like that. Please don't come down and start doing what some of these goofballs are doing. You know what I'm saying? Stop, because you're so much better than that. Don't know what the intentions were behind this, other than trying to say, "Oh, I'm making better." Or, like we heard about Shaq going back with back and forth with Danny Green, and be like, "Yo, you can shoot that, bro. Take some more shots." And Danny Green started taking some more shots. We know the Shaq effect, but it just I don't know if I have the word for it right now, but it's that's not fulfilling, bro. That's not what we need. We know you can say, "Yo, I want this player and challenge this player," right? We know how Kobe did it, right? Kobe did it where I write them before the season. I'm challenging you to this, that, and the third. I'm just saying for me, that's corny. That's straight up corny. Like it makes you look like an old head, and I don't have a problem with old age. Age is a part of life, whatever like that. But to approach that like that is really just pretty whack for me. It's like, yo, just communicate how you want to communicate. You're privileged, you're esteemed. These kids are balling, they're dope. Donovan Mitchell's sick, he's ill, one of the best guards in the league at his young ripe age. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep it a stack. Let's keep like the cloth talk let's keep let's keep it 100 at every single turn, man, because they're always trying to take from the culture. They're always trying to get in where they fit in, and let's not feed into whatever the big bright lights want us to do. Let's what Steven Jackson say, make love to pressure, but let's not do all that other weird stuff that they want us to do just to tap dance for certain stuff, man. Come on now.
Yeah, bro. I don't even like the concept of tearing someone down to build them up anymore. Like that's just stupid to me.
Or do it
I
behind
feel
closed doors.
do it behind closed doors. But like you
Your
said, you
personnel,
want
but
that
don't do it on
attention.
national TV after he just
Yeah,
scored the whole. Not
I think
he
he had
didn't
like
score 300
36 that
shots.
game or something
He
like
had
that.
36, bro. Shut up. I would
Hmm
have dropped it because he kind of approached it the same way with Christian Wood. Like Christian Wood said, "Oh man, you're a casual." Like that was kind of firing a little bit back at him, but even the comment, what you're saying is being media. Definitely trained media. Somebody has been in this. Jack's been doing this since he retired. So he'd say, "Hey, I didn't know too much about you last year," whatever like that. There was no need for that comment. And Christian Wood, you know, as he should have. Oh man, you're a casual. You know what I'm saying? You didn't. You didn't do your research at least. You know what I'm saying? There's no need to say I ain't know much about you. You can't, from a media standpoint, from a journalism standpoint, you can't pull up to somebody and be like, I'm interviewing UCL and be like, oh man, like I don't know too much about you, man, but you're a good actor. You know what I'm saying? Or you're a good to stand a third. It's like, no, I'm interviewing you. Like the common courtesy, the great thing to do, whatever like that, you know what I'm saying, to make this joint 100 a stack, to make you respect me, and I should respect you because I asked to interview you, is that I should know something about you. I shouldn't even come to you being like, y'all don't know too much about you. It should have been like, yo, like, we want to know more about you, yo. So like coming up to this and like we see you now, that's what's up. And this, that, and the third. But for you to just, it's nasty. Probably more so because I understand communication on a deeper level, and I understand, we do this. I also study it in other ways. But um, and I'll put it like this. I'll end like this. More power to you, Shaq, because clearly you know something I don't. You're the millionaire. You're on broadcast TV, such and such like that. But at the same time, like some of the stuff from a cultural standpoint, not saying of the big picture, but for us, like culturally, for dudes that are in here, trenches, see these guys, whatever like that, it's like there's no need for it, bro. Just big them up or criticize them behind the closed doors. But that kind of setup, that kind of way specifically, that's not it.
Yeah. And shout out to Donovan Mitchell for taking the high road because
Yeah,
I feel like someone else would have clapped back. I'm like, Shaq, like, granted, Shaq is one of the best bigs ever to do
the
it, but
best.
he not winning without D Wade and without Kobe as well too. So if I'm Donovan Mitchell, I'm like, nigga, like, look what team I'm on right now. Like, this is look where we at. Look what team I'm on. Look who I got.
Yeah, bro.
I'm good enough, but my team ain't good enough. He probably thinking that in his head, but you can't say that.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, I'm happy he took the high road. So old heads, man, just let players play, give them flowers, and like you said, if you have something to say it behind closed doors. This is big. This is a brotherhood. So
Yeah, it's a brotherhood,
you
man.
can you can find their contact information and reach out to them personally. You don't got to put them on blast like that. So just wanted to bring that up as well too. Um, Going almost to an end here,
Okay.
man. 76ers are looking great. And obviously this past week we had the whole Joel Embiid versus LeBron James, who's your MVP as well too. So there's three people that come to mind for MVP. We got LeBron James, obviously year 18, top 3 seed in the West. We got Joel Embiid, who's in a new system, number 1 seed in the East. He's finally the number 1 premier option. He's playing more in the post. He has a new revamped team around him, shooters everywhere as well too. And he's just the modern day Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon to me. Truly is looking like the most unstoppable player in the NBA. Like it's actually insane. Um, and I'm just proud of him. He's been healthy this year as well too. And then we also, like we said, got Easy Money Sniper on the Brooklyn Nets. Swish Army Knife is not only giving you 30, but also taking on that challenge from a wing standpoint to guard the best opposing player, and then also taking on that challenge to play the center position when it
Yeah.
matters most as well too. Out of all these three players, man, it's really really tough. But who you going with MVP, bruh?
I'm gonna go KD, Embiid, LeBron. I always say this, but if we had to be true to ourselves near and dear, LeBron should have had damn near all the MVPs coming up to this season to this point, right? That's just who he is. That's what he is for basketball. That's his magnitude. He's Thanos, right? But if we're gonna go by the usual shock value, oohs and ahs, whatever like that, but this person is also very, very deserving. And I think right now he does take the cake for it. I think it's KD. I think KD showing us that he's the top two basketball player, best basketball player on the planet. One or two damn near could be interchangeable depending on how you view a basketball
Facts.
player.
That's a fact.
Depending on how you view a basketball player, and what you would want out of your quote unquote definition of the best basketball player. And Beats having a great year. Who he's becoming, who who he is at 26, who we thought him to be at 26, and who the hype is around at 26. Uh, but it's continue the consistency. He's not one of these other two guys though. He is not. But I'm going KD, Embiid, and then LeBron at that tertiary position. Um, Solely because that's just kind of how it falls. But all of them are having an amazing season.
Yeah, mine a little different from yours. The only thing that's similar to ours is probably LeBron at number three,
Hmm.
just because I mean, and it's crazy, right? We're just spoiled by his greatness, and this
Always,
is year 18 now. He's 36
always.
now, and you would think, right, with them winning a championship, 80 getting that taste of being a champion, that
Hmm.
LeBron would kind of, at least in the regular season, take a slight step back, which he kind of did in the beginning. But with 80 not playing to 80 standards,
Yeah,
he's had to play even more minutes.
yeah.
And even and truly without LeBron James, that team is literally the Pelicans where AD was there right now. AD was there in the past right now. But I think it's one of those things where like we said, we kind of take him for granted and we know what's expected out of him that we kind of overlook him. Um, so I have him number three. Um, Number two, KD.
Okay.
And I think he's been playing well even before the James Harden trade right now too. But I think what may come back to get him is the fact that he has Kyrie
James
Irving, the
Harden.
fact that he has James Harden,
Okay.
and I think that may take away from him. But I wouldn't be surprised if they have the best record in the NBA and he's putting up these numbers, which he's going to continue to put up, even if he's not playing back to backs. I think you can argue for it, but I would love to see Joel Embiid get it because he's always talked about number one being a true leader on his team, number two having the best record, number three being the best big. He just talks about how highly he thinks of himself and where he thinks he can be, and you can truly see having a kid going through those L's, having a new team, and just being a little bit older and a little bit wiser. He's definitely changed his outlook and his approach to the game as well too. And we're
Yeah.
seeing it this year as well. So Doc Rivers is giving him the ultimate green light, and most importantly, what we were most concerned about is his health. And I think it would be kind of cool to have a big man win an MVP again because I mean Giannis is kind of like a hybrid. Before that, you had LeBron, KD, D Rose, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and then Dirk wasn't a traditional big. So the last traditional big was probably Shaq or Tim
Yeah.
Duncan. So to have Joel Embiid win this again, I think that would be dope as well too, because you don't really come around a generational type of player like that as well too. So I'm gonna give it to Joel Embiid right now, and
I
then
feel this.
moving on to the 76ers. You love them motherfuckers. Past couple of years, you've been talking about when they get around playoff time, it could be like Philly, Philly, Philly. I just be looking at this dude
Do
like,
I say that?
all right, yeah, we got the archive where you
All right.
you be on the Philly bandwagon, then you just be
You
like,
better
oh,
pull
never
that up.
mind.
I can't remember that. Can't remember that.
I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna
I
find it.
can't
I'm
remember
telling
none
Warren
of
to find that joint. But
that.
do you think this is the year that Philly finally has what it takes? Because like I said, this is the most success that they've had. Obviously, Jimmy Butler, 7 games, semifinals. against the Raptors. Kawhi Leonard hits that shot. But before that, they really thrive when they had spacing for Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid right now. And obviously you added Danny Green, Dwight Howard, Seth Curry, who's been playing amazing, by the way, and Tobias Harris, who's been playing amazing. Obviously, we talked about it before in the past. Tobias Harris' best season was when he was with Doc Rivers, and it
Mm-hmm.
looks like he's copying and pasting that right now as well too. Do you think with just Joel Embiid being so down, because right now, like looking in the East right now, matchup wise, they may be the scariest matchup because I don't see
But
nobody stopping Joel Embiid no more, bro.
yeah,
Especially with the spacing that they have. But do you think that they can actually at least get to the conference finals? I know their GM Daryl Morey said this finals a bust for him, meaning to me, the way I process that, if we don't get it to the finals, we traded you Ben Simmons. That's what it sounds like to me. And they
yeah.
already tried to trade him as well too for James Harden. But do you think this is the year where they can finally say, all right, we see the star power that they have with the Nets, but they are challenged size wise and defensively. This could be the year that we can get over the hump.
Um, I'm looking at the standings.
Number one, I think 14-6, I want to say.
Yeah, number one. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you just talked about how the Heat are kind of at the bottom of the pack right now, so that eliminates one team that you had to deal with. Then the other two or three, or the Celtics, Bucks, and Nets, and you're only gonna see one of those guys probably, um, going towards, probably looking like possibly a Nets, or it's hard, so we have a 14 playoff, right? Celtics, Bucks, Nets, Sixers, and the way you divide it up, I could see the Nets maybe falling and the Bucks getting some traction because the Bucks are so used to having the best record in the East or the league and stuff like that, so they can move up to two. So the Sixers could see the Celtics, which is also pretty scary. If you think about it, definitely if the
Yeah.
Celtics mess around and try to buy out for Andre Drummond somehow, some way, I think you have an advantage over them right now because the inside presence of Joel Embiid. That's your all star. So say boom, put them in front of them, and then you have the Bucks and the Nets. We'll say that because of the firepower that the Nets get past them, so it's 76ers and the Nets. Boom, now it's a war, it's a battle. I I can't say that it's gonna be finals or bust because you have to go through that kind of scenario, those kind of options to get there. Um, but yes, it is a finals or bust because if this doesn't work this year, I got to change something. It's probably going to be my non-shooting point guard that he can distribute the ball, but maybe we want something else from him instead. Maybe I can get a few pieces that can defend, and I can get somebody that can hold down that role as well. So yes, I feel what he's saying, and I could see it coming because those first four spots in the East are never an easy out, and
Mhm.
like we saw last year, sometimes the team comes up and just comes out of nowhere.
Mhm. Yeah. Nah, man, I have to agree with you. So it's all on them, but like I said, a couple red flags. Obviously, number one, Ben Simmons.
Yeah,
But maybe this could be the year where Doc Rivers is right, where it's like, yo, we're just gonna accept you for who you are. You don't need to be able to shoot X, Y, and
yeah.
Z as well too. But
This,
I think it's gonna come down to Ben Simmons, how teams prioritize their game plan around him over those 2 weeks, over that 7 game series.
yeah,
And then Doc Rivers hasn't, since he's been with the Clippers, he hasn't been past the second round in a long time. So we'll see what adjustments he makes as well too. And then
but
health as well. Can Joel Embiid, when if he can get past the regular season, is he
stay
going to
healthy.
be able to be able to stay healthy and play high level minutes, and be available for his team as well too? Because defensively they look great. Offensively, they could use another go-to guy, but they have all the pieces that they need. So it really comes down to health, game plan. Ben Simmons, and who they pair up with as far as seedings go as well too. Because like you said, there's always that diamond in the rough that come out of nowhere that makes major headlines, like the Denver Nuggets and like the Miami Heat. So we'll see what happens with that. Last topic I want to talk about today is All-Star ballots finally came out as well too. So I want to kind of go back and forth with yourself and I, and
Yeah.
talk about who we think should be, for the West and the East. So I'll start off with the East, and then from there, you give me your East picks, and then we'll go to the West, and then we're done.
Okay.
So for the East, for my backcourt, um, this was tough, man. Because it's crazy. Jaylen Brown is 6'7", 6'8", but on the NBA website he's listed as backcourt, which is crazy. But this is tough for me. Had to go with flat Earth Kyrie for one. Just been playing great, very efficient. One of the best games I've seen, rightfully so. And then I was torn between, do I want to go with Jaylen Brown or do I want to go with this guy right here? I ended up going with this guy right here. I went with Bradley Beal. And you can argue out with Zach LaVine as well, too, putting up a lot of numbers on a shitty team. But Bradley Beal, 35. He's giving you 35 a night, bro. He's
Yeah.
giving you 35 a night. So I had to give it to him. Front court, I feel like it's pretty consistent. Joel Embiid, obviously, MVP candidate. Kevin Durant, MVP candidate. And then I have Greek Freak, who is modern day hybrid Shaq. So those are my picks for the East. Who you got in your back court and in your front court, or is it the same?
Man, I'm about to keep my front court the same. I mean, Giannis, Embiid, KD. I mean, there's not much you can say
Very good
about that.
five, yeah.
I gotta give it to my man's Bill, man. He's not killing himself for no reason. And then I'm gonna insert, I guess, newly acquired guard to the East, James Harden. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And instead of Kyrie, so very similar, but I
So
just
no
get, I
no
get.
no 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 JB instead of Harden.
I'm not even really super duper familiar with JB's stats, bro. Unfortunately,
Google
and
that
it's
shit right now.
probably why
he said
he's
he's
probably
not
having like 40.
familiar. He
Let's see.
he said he's not familiar.
I know. I'm a casual. I'm Shaq.
That's all good.
I'm not familiar with you, Jaylen Brown.
I'm gonna just read it to you.
What's up?
27, 5, 4, 53% from the field, 44% from three, 76% from the free throw line, PER 25.7. He's actually the leading scorer on his team right now, and
My
he's
man's
just been
hooping.
flat out sensational. So, like I said, if it weren't for Beal putting up 35, I would definitely, um, go with
Jaylen
Jaylen
Brown.
Brown as well too. Harden,
That'd be his first appearance, right?
yeah. He got slighted last year. He averaged 20 last year. He definitely gonna make it this year. Him and Jason Tatum gonna make it together, I believe. So, but yeah, like I said, I wanted to keep it kind of old school with having a traditional point, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center type of situation. So that's why I went with my picks right there.
I'm gonna keep my heart.
You keep it Harden.
Yep.
I ain't mad at that. Harden. But just given how he went out and then coming back here, I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it to someone else. Obviously, gonna be an all-star this year, but not a
Yeah.
starter for me. And then in the West, it's kept it the same way. Backcourt, Steph Curry, light skin, babyface assassin, going for damn near 30 a night as well too.
Crazy.
I didn't know what to expect with Clay going down, but they're in the playoff hunt right now, and he's been exciting to watch. And he still has a lot left in the tank. Just passed Reggie Miller for number 2 for all-time three-point leaders in three-point attempts made. So proud of that. And then Utah has the best record. Donovan Mitchell's playing great. F Shaq. So
So
go with him just to change it up. I was torn because there's other players I could enlist like Damian Lillard with CJ McCollum out and Luka Doncic as well too. But sometimes I like to translate winning over individual success, even though this is an individual based type of voting system that we have. I had to give Donovan Mitchell that, bud.
That's a good one.
LeBron James. I mean, King, Wash
Watch
King,
King.
year 18. There's not much to say.
27-7-7.
I was torn between these two, and they're on the same team as well, kind of like the Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum analogy right there. But Paul George has been having a great season, but I'm giving it to Kawhi. That's my guy. And like I said, I kind of wanted to have a little balance as well too. So I could have went with just all forwards, but Jokic has been playing out of his mind as well too. Denver started off really, really at the bottom, picked it up. I think they're a top 5 seed in the West right now. So those are my picks for the West. Who you got?
I'm gonna go. Let's start with front court first. Let's start with AD.
Interesting
No, no,
choice.
no, 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 no. I'm sorry. I was
Oh,
thinking
he said
AD's
delete,
name in
delete,
my
delete,
head.
delete, delete, delete,
I know,
Command
delete,
Z.
delete, delete. I was thinking AD's name in my head. I'm going LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Jokic.
Got to, bruh. Averaging 26, 12, and 9, bruh.
Yeah. LeBron, Jokic. And
Damn.
let's throw in Kawhi. Let's throw in Kawhi. All right, that's the front court. All right, cool. We
Okay.
can call Kawhi small forward.
Yeah.
Um, and then my front court, I'm gonna go with can't neglect him. He's back in a crazy way. Mr. Wardell.
Mr. Wardell.
Wardell. Uh, and from there,
Who's your last
uh,
backcourt person?
mm, 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 mm.
It's tough. I don't know.
I could. This is gonna get me. And give me 2 seconds of
Mm-hmm.
banter
You got CPE, you
because
got Book, you got Luca, you got Dame, you got Donovan Mitchell. I mean the list goes on and on and on. You got some people to choose from.
so
Darren
what I would what
Fox,
I
you
would
know what I'm
do
saying?
and I pull it out your playbook. Um, for me it'd probably be Dame, but then right after that it would be Donovan Mitchell.
I
I
respect that.
I
And
was I
and
was
Dame
thinking
hit
about
that
I was
game
thinking about a
winner.
book, huh?
Dame hit that game winner yesterday against
Yeah,
Chicago too.
I was thinking about a book right now this season. He hasn't done enough for me to just insert him right
Uh,
in there. But
yeah,
but we know who he is. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But yeah, that's my choices.
I like it. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at all. So I respect it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 101 of the Seezus Show featuring Trade Day XXIV. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and looking forward to seeing what else unravels in the NBA season. Any last words, Trey?
No, everybody stay safe, stay sanitized. Thanks for rocking with us, episode 101. And yeah, stay safe. That's all. That's all it is, man. Stay safe. This thing is a real deal. So we'll talk to y'all soon, man.
Make sure to follow the Seezus Show, Traded XXIV, Search Seasons on all major platforms. Subscribe, rate, comment, share. And on that note, we out.
Peace.